something that happened inside our house. It would have been different if my dog was running wild and bit somebody. I'd take full ownership for it. But this is something where she came in, she was scared of the dog, and when they tried to put her up because she was scared, you know, she bit her. I'm not saying she didn't bite her, you know, but it was in our house and she was told not once but twice not to come in. My oldest daughter is here to testify also. She's 16.
Okay. Can we hear from her?
Yes.
Clarissa?
No, Ashley.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ashley. Ashley.
I have just one question. When you testified earlier, you said that the male dog was in Ashley's room and she was not home.
No, that's not what I said. I said the male dog was locked up in Ashley's room. That's
Okay.
what I said.
But she was home.
She was home, sitting on the couch. She gets home before all of them. She's in high school.
Okay, can you tell us what
Yeah,
happened?
tell us.
Like when I always get home, I let the dogs out separate and all that. And then, but before I had let King out the second time, because he has to go pee like multiple times. So after he drinks water, so I put him up, and then I was laying down on the couch with Karma, waiting for Clarissa and Deja to get home. And then when I was laying down watching TV, Deja came in, so Karma got up. And then when Deja was saying wait or something, I didn't know. I thought she was talking to Clarissa or something. So when the door opened the second time, Karma got up and walked over there. And then I just thought, oh, maybe Clarissa's home. Because usually when they get home, the dogs run over there to the door to greet them, I guess. So, and then I guess, I don't really know, but because I wasn't really paying attention, I was watching TV. And then I just hear somebody yelling or something. So, because I wasn't really listening, I was watching TV. I wasn't paying them the attention because they're usually loud when they get home. So then I hear the yelling, so I get up and I walk over there, and then I see Karma, so I hurry up and grab her because Tiana was crying and I didn't really know it. So I ran over there, I put her up in my brother's room, and then we were over there, Deja and Tiana were all the way over there in the bathroom and all that, and I was just like, what happened and all that. And then they told me, and then I went out there, back out there to the living room to go get some ice. And then I went back there in the bathroom and gave it to Tiana because her mouth was bleeding and all that.
Okay.
And then after Tiana finally calmed down and all that, Deja took her home. I stayed in the house, told my brother what happened. And then I was waiting for Clarissa to get home because she was down at the bus stop picking the girls up. So when they came home, I stayed home, watched the girls, and then Clarissa went down there to go check on Tiana and then all that. And then called my mom, told her what happened after everything calmed down. The girls started asking questions. What happened? And then my mom told me to go back down there and go let her talk to Tiana and all that. So after Clarissa and them came back, we all went down there because I had to get dressed and all that because I was over there in my night clothes. So we all went down there, and then we all knocked on her door, and then her brother let us in, and then I told Tiana that my mom wanted to talk to her on the phone, but she wouldn't let nobody in her room to talk to her but Clarissa and Deja. So when I came in there, she was talking on the phone with her dad already. So we had to wait for her, and I told my mom that. And then when finally she got off the phone with her dad, we told her that my mom wanted to talk to her, and then we gave her the phone. Then my mom was talking to her, and then when she was done, I got the phone back to me, and my mom told me to just go home and stay with the girls and all that, and just keep the dogs. So.
Okay.
Can I go back to right in the beginning when somebody came in? Deja came in, is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you hear her tell T, to stay outside?
All I heard really loud was they just say, stay outside. I didn't think anything of it because they usually have people at the door waiting for them to come outside, and they usually tell them to wait or something.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay.
I just have one question. So when you went over to her house, you couldn't speak to her because she was on the phone with her father?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to hear from the other young lady?
Me too.
Hmm?
So specific to the order, besides the dangerous label and the stockade fence, is there anything else that you cannot comply with? That was the muzzle requirement. No, number 10.
The 8, which is if the property is rented, that the landlord has to, once you notify the landlord that there's a dangerous or potentially dangerous animal, the landlord is not going to allow them to stay. It's that simple.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Sure. Ms. Burnett, your apartment complex has breed restrictions, correct?
It has what?
Breed restrictions on the type of animals you're allowed to have?
That's right.
What are those restrictions?
The restrictions are certain types of dogs.
What kind of dogs?
Pit bulls, Rottweilers, German Shepherds, and there's another one. But for her being an Old English, she's allowed to be there.
Okay, and has your apartment complex, did you give them that paperwork when you moved in?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
And did they see her, or did they just take the paperwork?
No, they seen her.
They saw her?
They seen her bloodline and her paperwork and everything. They made a copy and it's in her file.
But I mean, did they visually see the animal?
Yeah, they have to.
They have to, okay,
Yes.
all right. Just because the apartment complex had been concerned about the type of dog was my only question, yeah.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did there come a time when you spoke to Ms. Burgett that you referred to the dog as a Old English Sheepdog / Pit Bull?
No, when I initially spoke to Ms. Burgett, the dog, I referred to it as a pit bull boxer mix. And if you've seen the dog, she looks like a pit bull boxer mix. She doesn't resemble an Old English Bulldog, even 1%. So, I mean, she's, in my opinion, as a professional, she's not an Old English Bulldog.
You have papers in
Yes, I do.
That's what she is, correct?
But the breed in this instance does not matter. You know, which I told her, and I corrected the paperwork to say what she wanted it to say, which is Old English Bulldog. But I did tell her at the same time that regardless of whether the dog was a pit or a bulldog, or it didn't, the DO stands regardless.
Right.
You have said, you just now testified, that, in your opinion, she resembles a pit bull boxer mix.
Yes.
May I show you this?
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen this before, excuse me.
Okay.
It's got, you've seen certificates of this before in your,
Well, I've never heard of this registry. It's not the American Kennel Club. It's the International Old English Bulldog Association. But yeah, I see it. But just, you know, I mean, you can get papers on pretty much anything. So.
No, you can't, not through them.
So-
Okay.
Either way, this has no bearing on our case.
Right, but this
With
is the
American.
point. When I spoke to her, first of all, when I first spoke to her on the 26th, she told me that my dog needed to come in to be quarantined for rabies and investigated for rabies. I said, that's no problem. I have no problem with complying, whatever. Brought the dog in the next day. And when I came in, the paperwork that I was given said to be investigated for a potentially endangered dog. I'm from Ohio, so I had no idea about this statute. And I said, I had sent her an email and I said, I'm a little confused because you're telling me it's being quarantined for rabies, but it's actually being quarantined for this. This is how the conversation started. So when she called me back the next day at 10:30, they had my dog from 5 o'clock to 10:30 in the morning the next day. She told me, well, we're gonna deem this dog dangerous because she's an Old English, she's an Old English / pit bull. And I said, where did you get that she was a pit bull? Because she's a purebred. I have papers on the male and I have papers on the female. So I said, I was a little irate because I said, I hadn't even brought the dog in before I signed the paperwork, so where did that come from? In your statute, it clearly says if it's a pit bull, off the top, they're already deemed that.
No, it does not.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
There's
There's-
no-
we have- we
I
have
don't
no-
think there's such language.
We have no
in it.
pit bull
Okay,
requirements.
Right.
well, the
I
whole
would like-
point is
Okay.
that, to me, how can you say she's not? I even have pictures of the parents, the grandparents. This guy is a legitimate breeder in Ohio, and that's where I bought
I know
it
this
from.
is a significant issue
I
to you, but
understand.
it has no bearing on this case.
Okay.
The breed does not matter in the slightest bit.
Okay.
We treat all dogs equally. As far as the 10-day quarantine, the 10-day quarantine is for rabies. It's not for their investigation. It just means that they were also investigating for the dangerous order. The 10-day
Okay.
quarantine is specifically for rabies because your dog will start showing signs of rabies within 10 days.
But they didn't even they weren't going to keep her for the 10 days. They told me the next day I could come and pick her up as long as I go by what the order said.
Yeah, because they wanted to observe the dog and see if they saw any signs, and then they
If you have a
trust
rabies
you to-
certificate,
Yeah, I did.
okay, then,
It still has to be quarantined for 10 days under the health department law.
oh, okay.
Under COMAR, yeah. But when dogs inflict severe injury, they have to be observed at our facility.
Right. And the definition of potentially or dangerous comes from the definition of the severity of the bite.
Correct.
I have a question. Up to that time, the dog had never received rabies shot.
Oh, yeah, I have all her shots, all her shot records.
I believe she was current at the time of the incident.
Yes, she was.
So back to the notice, or the order, sorry. If that's everything that you have a problem with, we've done
Well-
everything. We can always go over it one more time.
Let's go over it one more time.
So the labeling of dangerous is one thing you don't like.
1 is fine, 2 is fine, 3 is just not doable.
The leash part, I have no problem with. It's just that I walk, and she's what I walk with. Putting that muzzle on her, and she is Old English, the nose and stuff, it can give, it
If
stuffs
the
her up.
muzzle is properly fitted, the dog can pant, the dog can drink. So it's a case of bringing the muzzle in and having it adjusted here, or having your vet show you how to
That's good to
adjust
know.
it.
Okay.
Okay, that's all, yeah, let's go to 4.
This I would do, number
Right.
3 is the one I don't.
Right, 4 is fine.
No.
The license the license at $250 for a potentially dangerous or dangerous dog.
It drops to 100 for potentially dangerous.
What's the difference between potentially and dangerous?
As
I'm
far as the
gonna
order
clear.
goes, it's only that fee. As far as the order goes.
So the order still would stay even if she was potentially or dangerous?
If all we did was downgrade to a potentially dangerous order, then the only thing that would change would be that fee.
So
from
everything
250 to
else
100.
we would have to comply with?
But the changes we can make to orders include both downgrading and specific changes.
I see what you're saying. Thank you.
Okay, what kind of kennel do you have? And can you put the dog in a locked room? You know, reverse the lock so that you can only open it with a key.
Yep.
What kind of, do you have a kennel that would?
I have a cage. We live in an apartment on the 2nd floor, so it's not like she's out running around. We have a.
But it's like a travel kennel, you know?
It's a metal cage.
Okay.
Yeah.
How large is it?
It's
Like a wire
pretty
crate,
big.
I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a large crate.
Back to the order, so the other items,
Okay.
because you're talking about the breed, and I know it may be important to you, number 9.
I said I would do that.
Okay, number 9 is fine. Number 8, again, number 8 is a problem, because number 8 would mean she would have to move. I mean, she does a lot for the community.
Unfortunately, there's really nothing we can do about number 8.
It's in the law, yeah. it's in the
Besides dropping the order completely. There's nothing that we can,
Well,
we
is
can't
there-
specifically remove number 8.
Is there a possibility that if we comply with basically all but number 3 of the order, that you can then drop the designation of potentially dangerous and dangerous entirely, as long as we
We
comply
have
with
no
everything?
enforcement power at
No.
that point.
We can consider, dropping from, dangerous to potentially dangerous, but we can't get rid of the word dangerous completely.
And this is true despite the fact there have never been any problems before, and the
No,
way-
I'm not saying we're not doing anything.
Right.
The commission as a whole will go back and discuss
I
the
understand
matter.
that, but I'm a bit concerned. I know that a common law, every dog got a free bite. I'm not advocating that that's still true, because Tracy versus Selesky and then the legislation after that just muddied the waters, and nobody really knows where animal control is going, frankly, because it's all been turned upside down in the last couple of years. However, in a case like this, where the overwhelming evidence is that the young lady was told to stay outside, she did not do that. She came inside the door, closed it behind her, made furtive motions and screamed before as the dog came up to her, made certain statements, made statements to a number of people that it was her fault. I think under those circumstances, I really think you should consider, respectfully, you should consider dropping the dangerous or potentially dangerous designation.
And we'll certainly consider that. I just want to make sure we have all the information when we go back to deliberate, to make sure that we know specifically what you're asking for.
Yeah, I understand.
Which is, number 3 is a big one for you, because, again, you're in an apartment.
And then number 8, well, if you can, I'm not sure I understand.
If the order stands or is downgraded to a potentially dangerous order, number 8 is not one that we can modify.
Okay. I guess they're Comar or something.
It's in the county code. Yeah, it can't be modified.
Okay.
That specifically, and what that is for, and what my concern would be is, since the dog has shown aggression at this point, the landlord is liable. So it's not just her that we're trying to protect. The landlord needs to be aware, and that's because he is really liable. He, she, whoever owns the apartments is liable, and that's what this is here to protect, just so that they're aware, that a dog that has bitten before is living on their property.
And I would imagine as long as they are aware that the person who was bitten was, for all intents and purposes, a trespasser, and that's what dogs do, I suppose,
We
try to
understand.
deal with this best.
We understand. Any other further comments? We understand what you're asking for.
I have none. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
My only concern is, obviously, she said that labeling the dog would be a problem, one, because they're landlord, two, because they have a lot of children that come in and out of their house after school. That's my main concern.
Well, that's all stopped
Okay.
since this situation.
But, if it happens to one child, if there's children coming in and out of a home, how is, and, some kids say, whether or not they told her to stay at the door. If this is a home where children after school come in and out, the dog is a problem, and we need to take responsibility for that, I think. So that's all.
Only thing I would add to that is, up until this day, when she's a very nice, very intelligent, very pretty young lady, but she came in as a trespasser for all intents and purposes, and that was the only reason.
We've
she
lived
was
there almost 3 years, and we've never had any issues, none at all. We take very good care of our dogs. We make sure they're on a leash. We don't, if someone's coming in the hallway, we actually make sure we're over to the side. We give them the right of way. We make sure we take care of our dogs. We're not irresponsible dog owners and, we're just letting our dog run around. We just wouldn't do that. And it would be different if she was outside and my dog just went up and bit her or something like that, but this is a person we, not once, but twice was told not to come into our apartment. She never had been in there a lot. Like, I have kids that I come over that I watch after school just until school is out, and we've never had issues. And there's a set of twins that are 9. We've never had any issues. We've actually had younger kids over than that. This is when their mom comes and picks them up, they have other kids.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for reading that.
All right, Ms. Burkett, we've come to a 4-1 decision to reduce the order to a PDO, and we are putting in an addendum to number 3, saying that it only applies in the event that you move into a single-family dwelling. Okay? Any questions?
That's it. We know the appeal process. If you want
Yes.
to appeal, we do understand that.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.